Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Special thank you to our sponsors of The Experience, live with Russ and Scott, Jim Coleman, State Farm Insurance, 541-753-2500. Call him for all your insurance needs. And for more information on Christine Smith and Aging Better Network, go to agingbetternetwork.com. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. And we are so glad that you're here today. And I was busy adjusting in the background and almost didn't have us on in time, Scott. So here we are. I made it.
Yeah, and here I am broadcasting from Anaheim, California. So I'm out. My family's asleep, and I'm out here on the Little Lanai. So lighting is funky, but hey, what the heck? Look, you can see traffic. I can look over here and see Angel Stadium. It's kind of a fabulous deal.
There you go. And we hear you great. That's really good. You got your microphone there. That's good. So
yeah, bring some toys.
There you go. Well, listen, I am so excited to have you here. I was telling everybody, and we were talking backstage about my confusion because of your trip and not being able to be here originally, but you're here, which is good because we were going to have Dr. Nupi Aurora, the glitter practitioner, pop in today for you while you were on vacation. But she wasn't able to do that because of an emergency with her patients. So we're just going to show here just to give a little glimpse of Nupi. There she is. She was here in Oregon just a little over a week ago now. And there's Scott and I and my beautiful wife and Scott's beautiful wife and our friend Michael Holt with Nupi. And we were having a great time. She was here in my studio just shortly after that while I was doing the experience, actually. So it was nice to have her here. So that's her little glimpse for today. But, I just am excited, Scott, that you made it. And every Wednesday, I look forward to being with you, my friend. And whether you're coming from Anaheim or wherever you are, it's great to see you.
Oh, it's so much fun, Russ. And we were just talking with Shri on the Backstage, the Experience Backstage, which is on Instagram only. And Dr. Nupi is also a sponsor of that. So
the glitter practitioner. Nice. Yes, she is.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that so much. And we appreciate our sponsors here. Christine and the Aging Better Network. She sleeps while her sponsorship goes on.
Well, and I'll just I'll say, normally her show is live at 9 a.m. over on LinkedIn and YouTube. But today it's going to be a recorded interview with Russ Hedge, done probably about a year ago. And so
wow,
it's kind of a fun little glimpse into the past. So
there you go. How exciting.
It's about 30 minutes. So people want to tune into that. I encourage you to watch it in the Simulive as it's being broadcast.
There you go. That's 9 a.m. Pacific that'll be on. And
in the replay. So Christine dash Smith over on LinkedIn.
There you go. That's
or
awesome.
agingbetternetwork.com.
There you
easy
go.
way to find it.
They both will work. So I'm just excited this morning, this week, as we are going through the end of November into December. The holidays have begun. Thanksgiving, lots of great food. Scott, I'm assuming you had a wonderful feast, and I got to experience my first Thanksgiving as a diabetic, which was an adventure, but actually it worked out well, and I had a good one.
Well, that's great. Hey, we've
Yeah.
got great guests today coming in today as well. So
Yes, we do.
let's get to it.
Let's get this started. So we're so excited. I tell you, somebody who helps me focus, get peace in my life, and has a great big smile. We're going to bring Branka in first, and she is amazing, coming to us from halfway across the world, not just Anaheim. Here she is. Good morning, Branka.
Hello.
Hey, good morning, Branka.
Hello. Good afternoon
Good
from
Yes,
afternoon. That's right.
and good morning to all of you.
yes. Well, that's it. Whatever time zone it is, wherever you are, we're happy you're here, right, Branka? And you know, um, you and I have been able to talk several times, and you've been on marketing with Russ once or twice now.
Once, and we have another one scheduled.
There you go. I knew it. I knew it. And you are an amazing person, and I have appreciated you, the value you add to my life. Give everybody a little snapshot. Who is Branka, and what are you up to?
So thank you again for these lovely words and for both of you to having me here. So I'm Branka. I work as an empowerment coach and leadership consultant. But my mission is simple. I am here on a mission to transform the way we see emotions so that we can reveal the true power and potential of humanity. I'm using neuroscience and emotional intelligence, and my coaching is basically connection between coaching and trainings so that you can implement things right away. So that's the main picture.
Well, and being able to implement things right away is always very important, right? I mean, you can plan all day long and you can be coached all day long, but if you don't implement what you need to do, you got to take action, right?
Yeah, that's the big part of my work because many times people have intention to change something. They want to change. They know what they need to change. They learn so much, but they struggle with implementation because maybe they lack some parts of that mechanism that drives this change. So my role is actually to help them go through this change, to realize what is this mystery that they are struggling with, and address it with common sense, with information, so that resistance gets off and they have the power to actually do something. So I help them realize the state of mind and actually help them become empowered in every situations they would like, actually.
And I
And
love
I
your part about emotional intelligence because they say that it is more likely that you can be successful if you have a high EQ, emotional quotient.
Yeah.
It's more important than your IQ, your intelligence quotient. And so, emotional intelligence is the ability to control your own emotions and especially read the emotions of other people. Do you do any testing for folks? Because I know there are some tests out there that help you measure your emotional quotient.
I would say it depends. For some come already prepared and they have had some assessments about EI. So with them, I just explore what they found out, and we kind of realize what topic is the most painful for them. But what I like with it, I always encourage make the test. You have a lot of them available, but what I like to do when we start, it's to really make a personal SWOT analysis, because as I found it, it's a really interesting path to realize all those aspects of your life and actually trying to address them. because as we go into work, I can realize what parts are there that we need to address. And those tests help us in big way, but it can also make us a little bit boxed. So as I am mixing it with neuroscience, I like to go outside of the box and to truly listen to the person and hear those messages in between, because I believe there is the biggest value. And there I can find those simple but powerful tracks that can help them move forward. But
Yeah,
I would just say that I'm so grateful you mentioned that AI it's more important than IQ, because we will learn to believe that IQ is so much more. But in reality, if you are not able to communicate, if you are not able to build relationships, you are not very build up for success in the long run. So yeah, it's definitely important.
well, and I think you are amazing at getting people to slow down and realize they need to focus in and create space to be able to do these things. I think the first time that I met Branka, she looks at me, she goes, "Stop, Russ, stop." I'm like, "What?" "Stop. You just need to breathe and you need to stop for a minute and focus." And I thought, wow, good for you. We just met and you're already telling me to slow down and focus, which of course is a lifetime journey for me. And speaking of focusing, we need to get our second guest in the room here with all of us. Stuart, also coming from another location deep inside the earth, on the other side of the earth. Here he comes, Stuart Elliott. Good morning, Stuart.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is. It's good to be
Yes,
here.
whatever time it is. And in your part of the world, it's what time, Stuart?
It's about getting close to 11:15 at night time. So
There you
we're a
go.
little bit
Yes,
ahead of California.
just a wee bit, a wee
Yeah,
bit. Yes. So it's so good to have you here. And,
it's a pleasure.
yeah, we all met through, at least I met you through, I believe, the Global Tea Break. By the
Hmm.
way, globalteabreak.com, shameless plug, D. Scott Smith, one of the creators with our friend Alan Hennessy. And everybody should be there the third Friday of every month, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, whatever that is in your part of the world. But Stuart, what a great person. And you immediately reached out to me, and we have been able to video chat several times. And just give everybody a little snapshot. Who is Stuart and what are you up to?
Who is Stuart? It's a good question. I'm still trying to find out. I've gone through many iterations. I was born in the UK and I left there in '86 to go to Africa on an overland trip. Spent 6 months driving back from South Africa to UK. Got off the ferry, said, I don't like it, I'm going back. And then I stayed there for about 18 years, 19 years in South Africa before coming to the south of China. And I've been here since 2003. So I've had an interesting journey. And I like to help people connect to their own potential, the true potential. You know, if you think of young children, very, very young children, babies, they never have any doubts about what they can do. They just do. And yet when we get older, it's always, I don't know how, I can't, and everything else. This is the sort of conditioning we've been given. We've forgotten all the potential we have inside. And my true desire, not desire, pleasure, should we say, is to help people connect to that. So when they connect to that message from the heart, from the soul, to say, hey, I've got it, and they smile so deeply, then, that's the biggest reward in itself. And how we do it is just through a conversation.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I love having the two of you on here as coaches, because we all need coaches. I think everyone should have a coach, and maybe multiple coaches depending on what you're involved in, right? Maybe you need that coach for emotional intelligence, or maybe you need to really explore your potential, or work with Russ on marketing and understanding that. But we have talents, but we need to peel away, right, the stuff that gets in the way. I remember it was the quote from Michelangelo when they asked him, how he takes that block of marble and turns it into these beautiful sculptures. He said it's easy. You just take away the part of the rock that is not the man. Well, we can't do that ourselves. We need somebody, Branka, like yourself or Stuart.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
we've got to
because-
see that thing inside first, haven't we? And that's the key. Most people, including myself, if I look in the mirror, I don't see the beauty that's inside unless I really think about it. I just see this persona, if you like. And that's where the coach comes in. He can see, or she can see inside you and see the greatness in you and help you to go inside and find it.
Right. And I'm a firm believer that we all have these blind spots, Branka, that we're missing. And you zoned in on one of my blind spots right off the bat. I actually know about it, but I just always forget about it. And but that's really why we need coaches. It's not that we don't. A lot of times I tell people it's not that you don't know things, but you're not doing them. And we got to get down to why you're not doing them, because just like a football coach, you may know how to throw the ball and you may know how to run the ball, but they make you better and they improve how you do that and get you to do it the proper way, right?
Yeah, that's true. And also, like you mentioned, those blind spots. We often have busy schedule. We often have all those habits we are used to. But in reality, many times people try to add another thing and use another thing. But the fact is, we need to make space. So many times it's about making the space. Where am I draining my energy? Where am I out of my way? Where am I doing something that's not supporting my path or my will or my passion or anything I feel passionate about, actually? So I like that you outlined those blind spots, because we as humans are kind of taught. Stuart made perfect reference to our childhood. We are taught to suppress some things. We are taught to ignore some things. It depends on our upbringing, but one way or another, we learned how to hide certain things. And we learned that so much that we try to hide it from ourselves. So in one way, we can see that, we can feel that, but I would say it's important, even more than it's important to see the potential within you. The biggest magic happens when you feel it. And me and Stuart, when we talked last time, we explored this part when you don't need to relive every bad experience to let go of that energy and emotion, or feelings, I would say more correctly. But in you need to rewrite this story, and you need to transform this energy. And the more compassion you have, the more conversation you have and honesty to yourself, the more capable you are of doing these steps.
Yeah, no, exactly. Honest conversation with yourself. Wow, that is a revelation. Uh, Scott, I mean, Scott to me in my life has been a lot like you, Branka, in the fact that he always rattles me awake and gets me thinking. By the way, that's the title of one of my new books. But anyway, that he always gets me thinking about things. Scott kind of overloads me sometimes in a good way with like lots of good stuff. And I always have to go, whoa, hang on. I have to work on one thing at a time. I'm a simple-minded guy. But Stuart, I think that, when people really need to kind of get in tune with themselves and find out, what their real purpose and driving force is in life, I think that's where you and Branka both come in, just so critical on getting people to focus on those things.
Yeah, well, we've all got the answers inside of ourselves, and the role of the coach is to help the individuals to connect to those answers, because we've spent our lifetime practicing avoiding those answers, and we've got to stop that. And it's not about me or anyone else telling the person what they should be doing or anything else like that. It's just to ask questions that get them thinking and help them to go inside and remove the nonsense that's been built up over many, many years, probably. So it's an interesting thing. And you can't do that unless you shut up most of the time.
You know,
Well,
it's funny because
yeah.
we were talking on the experience backstage about routines, right? And how do you start your day is an important thing to do. And so the day before yesterday, so part of my morning routine is to read the Bible, and I just happened to be reading Psalms. And King David is writing about physical enemies, right, who are pursuing him, who want his destruction. And I'm thinking, but there aren't people out there trying to kill me, right? So how does this apply? And then I started thinking, it's those voices inside that say, you shouldn't do this. You can't do that. Why do you think you should do this? Those are the enemies that we have to deal with every day.
Yeah. No, you're
That's
right.
so true. Can
Go ahead,
I
Branka.
jump in? Yeah,
Yeah, please do.
it's beautiful association came up with me. So with empowerment, why I love empowerment, it's to really focus on the inner power every human has. And many times people confuse it with you will give me your power, or they want to lean on my power. But I always say, no, my power is mine and yours is yours. And I'm teaching you actually not giving it away to other people, to other situations, or maybe hiding it, but to actually live with it. Because we like to seek outer environment or situations, people to blame, to shame, to make all of that stuff. But in reality, like you perfectly stated, Scott, it's the voices in our head that are making this drama. And in this case, we are giving away our energy because we are not standing in it, because we are not addressing these thoughts and saying what's right, what's real, and what's my imagination wanting me to believe it, or I should say ego wanting me to convince me I'm right, because that's his role. He wants to be right all the time, and sometimes it can drive us into big despair. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. I think that you do need to focus on making this just goes into life and business in general. Focus on making ourselves better. Focus on using our power and our gifts from God that we can move forward with and do things with, instead of trying to tap into what other people have and just relying on people. You know, Scott, you brought up reading the Bible this morning. People do that with churches all the time. They're jumping from one to the next, looking for that high, the person that's going to take them where they want to go. That's never going to happen if you don't have it within yourself, within your business, within your family, within whatever you're doing. You've got to be connected to yourself. And by the way, shameless plug, russhedge.com, my free download on transforming your business in 3 simple steps. The first one is connecting to yourself. You got to connect to yourself. You've got to be focused on yourself. I'm going to write a whole new chapter, a whole new part of that Branka gave me in my stop and focus. But I have to say one other quick thing, and that is, Stuart, you talked about we need to shut up. I love the quote, and I actually have it, I think, on every day of my calendar. It says, don't pass up a good opportunity to shut up. I talk too much. I know that. And so I got to remember that. And Stuart, I think that is just really something we got to think about. We got to listen, right?
Yeah. And the question I ask a lot of people is, how do you listen? What do you use to listen with? And most people look at me as I'm crazy. I say, my ears, why? What's wrong with you? And it's not your ears you're using, it's your whole body. Because there's more than just the sound, it's the energy and everything else that is important. And this is how we can actually understand what is missing from someone's life through that conversation, because we're hearing it, we're feeling it, rather than just hearing a few words. And the big problem with words is the labels. That's all. They're just a set of labels. I mean, I keep saying this to people. Look, I'm sitting on a chair. You're sitting on a chair. We're on Zoom, we can't see the chair, but we've got the picture in our mind of the chair. So we assume the person's sitting on the same chair. But I could be sitting on a bed of nails, or you could be sitting on a bed of nails. To you, it's a comfortable chair, but to me, it's not. So that's a label, a convenient label, yes, but we have to go past the labels to that association that's inside the person, the energy they've connected to that word.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Scott?
Yeah. So on my camera, the battery went out, and it also runs the audio. So
There you go. But you're back.
this is what's cool about the live stuff. Is you get to make adjustments on the fly. But Stuart, it really is the same in our lives too, right? We get up in the morning, we think, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then something gets in the way, and either we allow it to derail us, or we take that as an opportunity to say, I'm going to go a different direction, but I'm still going to arrive in the right destination. And that's
Yeah,
again,
and that right
I'm just going to go
destination
back
is important.
to the coach. I'm going to go back to the coach, right? Because so many people are fixated on, this is what I have to do. I have to go to A, B, C, and D, right? But that's not necessarily the right path for us.
It is so good, by the way, to see Kenny here this morning. And glad to make it both on YouTube and LinkedIn. Glad to have you back there. So just wanted to say hey, because he has had some challenges in that area. So yeah, hey, listen, just a reminder, everybody, please tag your friends and share this out this morning. And if you're watching our replay, put hashtag Team Replay. We appreciate that. And just a reminder that we are here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. For your listening and viewing pleasure, we'd love to have you. We have amazing people like Stuart and Branka every Wednesday. And we are winding up our time today, guys, and I have to be the responsible host. So, Branka, we're going to start with you, and I want you guys to give us your gold nugget of what you really want people to remember from today's discussion, and then how do they get in touch with you? And Branka, you're up first.
Okay. So yeah, my golden nugget would be to be as much as possible in the present moment. So with mindfulness, we can start our empowerment journey right away. We talked about those plans we make and all those things we need or we believe we will do, but in some way we are limiting ourselves because life is uncertain, and the more we want to plan it and want to have a control of it, the more we struggle when something gets off. So yeah, have a plan, but also be reasonable enough to be flexible in it and to go with your flow, go with your feelings, with energy, take care of it, and actually know that in every moment you have an opportunity to choose. You can either stand in your victim mindset or you can stand in your empowered mindset. And if you know that distinction, you can learn slowly to implement that into every area of your life. So that was my message. If anyone is interested in coaching, empowerment coaching, or just have a question about it, or anything in between, I'm available on LinkedIn through DMs, through comments, through I also have a booking session option on featured section, so you can book a free empowerment for 30 minutes and check out if this is something you would like to experience. So that's all. I'm grateful to be here and to talk with all of you, actually. So yeah, it was amazing experience.
Well, we are very good tying into the name of the show. It is always an amazing experience on Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. But it is even more amazing. Branka, appreciate having you here this morning and all that you're about. I highly encourage everybody. Her contact information there's right on the bottom. You can click on it. It's clickable in the comments and in the show notes. So please do that. And Stuart, you're up next.
Yeah. Well, my wisdom, if you like, I'd like to leave everybody with is something I think should be taught at school at a very, very young age. And it's AAC, not ABC, AAC, awareness, acceptance, and choice. 3 basic building blocks of life. build that awareness inside of what's happening, learn and discover how to accept it without judgment, because that is your metaphorical breathing space, your moment to step back and say, okay, how is it I want to choose to react from here or go forward from here? And we always have a choice of how we react to something. We don't have necessarily the choice of what happens to us, but what we do have is that power to choose if we can accept it without judgment and just accept that it's happened, not what is, the intent of it, but just that it's happened. Okay. I mean, a wonderful story for that is I fell backwards into a pond one day when I was taking my 2 young girls to school. And I told them many times to keep away from the edge, but I somehow fell back in, and they looked at me, and I'm going backwards and going, look at silly daddy, he's falling in the splash. And I chose to make it into a beautiful moment. I got out of the water, head to foot dripping, and they looked at me and they started laughing. And I said, look, I've told you how many times not to go near the edge. Look what happens when you fall on the edge. And then we went to kindergarten. I took them to kindergarten, dripping from head to toe with water. And they got the message, but they had a fun lesson. So that I accepted it. I didn't go into negativity or shame or anything. I just accepted it. And that's the beauty that we have if we take on AAC.
There you go. Awareness, acceptance, and choice, for sure. And Stuart, how do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can get on the website, Stuart Elliott, just stuart-elliott.com, or my Stuart at stuart-elliott.com, or Stuart at strategicpersonalgrowth.com, and also LinkedIn. And, everything's there. Just let me know. And I'd love to have that conversation and see how we can move forward to grow you.
Well, and I think life, Scott, you can chime in on this, but life is always worth a conversation, right, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. As it says in the tagline in my LinkedIn profile, one conversation can change your life or your business.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Well, that is so true, because a lot of times people, don't be afraid, people, to reach out and connect because you think one of us here is going to try to sell you on something, because we just want to help you. And you know what? If we end up working together, great. If we don't, at least you've made a great friend. And that's what I always say. And everybody here, amazing friends for me. And thank you all. I appreciate that. And Stuart and Branka, we're going to wave goodbye to you, but hang tight in the green room. We'll be right there as we wrap the show up. Thanks again.
Okay. Bye, everybody. And thank you both for inviting us. And Branka, thank you for being here.
The same.
You bet.
It was a pleasure.
Yes, it was. Scott, boy, the light's getting better, Scott. The light's coming up and I can see you better.
Yeah, it's getting brighter here. It's, we're probably, almost 1,000 miles south of where I usually am in Independence, Oregon, right by Russ there in Salem. And it does get lighter earlier and stay lighter a little bit later here as we're in winter.
Yep. Well, that's just it. Closer to the equator, right?
Yeah. Well, today's session, this is, as John was just mentioning, this session has just been fabulous. I think in a lot of ways, because of the knowledge that comes onto the experience with these folks, is this could be a masterclass, right? You could just watch the experience and get these great tips on how to improve your personal life, your professional life, your business. I mean, there's so many great tips. And Stuart and Branka today, wow, just wonderful.
Well, and like you always say, Scott, I mean, this is a mastermind experience. I'm telling you, you get great minds, great value to tap into. And if you take advantage, everybody, in the comments, and you have conversation with us during the show, and then connect with our guests and us, we would love to continue that. Whether it's just as friends. Hey, listen, I love making friends. Scott knows this. I do an entire workshop on how to turn cold calling into making friends, because everybody thinks sales is so slimy, right? But it really isn't, because we are all selling ourselves or selling a product or service. That's how we make a living. That's what we do, right? It's all how you go about it. But number one thing is to really connect with people and make friends. And that's what we're all here for, number one. So it is always worth a conversation. I'm at russhedge.com. He's at dscottsmith.com. All of Branka and Stuart's information is in the show notes and in the comments as well. And I encourage you, connect with all of us, have a conversation. And if nothing else, you'll come out better for it just through the conversation. And we appreciate that so much. So listen, I just want to remind everybody, we're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your listening and viewing pleasure on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. Before this, we're over on Instagram only on The Experience Backstage, prepping for the show and getting video tips and inspiration for life from our friend Shri, who is a co-host with us on The Experience Backstage. We're thankful for Jim Coleman and Christine Smith for our an Aging Better Network and State Farm for our amazing sponsors here. We're thankful for the Glitzer practitioner, Dr. Nupi Aurora, over on The Experience Backstage. We cannot do this without them and without you. We need you every week engaging with us, and we need them because there is resources needed for everything you do in life. And we appreciate that so much. If you're interested in being a sponsor on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott or any of our live streams, please reach out to D. Scott Smith or russhedge.com. We'd be glad to tell you about that. And with that, Scott, what's your parting words of wisdom?
Get a coach. And we have two great folks to get a hold of today with Stuart and Branka. We have all the contact information. I encourage you, reach out and have a conversation with Branka. Have a conversation with Stuart and see what you don't know. And then be better about it.
So you think there's something we don't know? That's amazing. Yes, there is something we all don't know. And subscribe on YouTube. Go to theexperience.video because I'm telling you, amazing guests Scott and I have had over the last couple of years, and you want to tune into that. You can binge The Experience this weekend, catch up with where we are. You'll be better for it. And with that, Scott, I think we're all good, and we're going to get out of here for today.
Yeah, fabulous.
All right.
Good to see you.
We'll have an amazing time in Anaheim and Disneyland. And until we see you all again, have a great life and
enjoy the experience.
Woohoo!
Bye all.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.